Hey, my name is Eric. In today's video, we're doing a review of Bench. We're going to be covering some of the pros and cons, and I'm actually going to be taking you into my account to show you what everything looks like if you were to sign up for the service. And first of all, I want to commend you for actually looking into this in the first place, because if you're anything like me and the journey that I've had as a business owner is you kind of start out small and you start to grow and grow. And at a certain point, you realize that your time is starting to feel limited and your time isn't best spent doing things like bookkeeping. And that is especially true for me because I'm not a number crunching kind of person. But what I want to do is I want to show you the back end of the platform, give you some tips, things to be aware of before you do get set up with them, because there are some downsides, and I can get into the downsides actually right away because that's what popped up right here. And this is actually a great place to start because there's a pro and a con that you're seeing on the screen right now. So if I scroll up a little bit, on May 5th, you can see the person I was working with, she accepted a new opportunity outside of Bench. So she was letting me know that somebody else is going to be taking over my account. And then 2 days later, I hear from that person. She just says, hey, if you want to have a time to talk, I'm here for you. So what you can see is I've actually, in the 4 months that I've been using this service, I've actually had a transition into who's handling my account. Now, depending on how you look at this, this is a pro or a con. Obviously, the con would be, okay, there's a lot of turnover. There's probably going to be different people moving in and out of my account. But on the pro side of things, it kind of goes back to something that happened to me working with a local CPA. So for my business, I have an S Corp, and I have a company that I was working with locally in Buffalo, New York. And they've been handling my taxes and my helping me with bookkeeping and those things. But then all of a sudden one day I got a letter from them and they said that they've been absorbed and purchased by another company. So when that happened, it was really messy with that transition. I really didn't like that experience. And that is when I started looking into alternative services. But I didn't land on Bench right away. I actually went to QuickBooks first because that's kind of one of the standard names in bookkeeping and just kind of invoicing and different tools. And I started kind of getting into that atmosphere of just QuickBooks everything. And what I was finding was a lot of glitches and issues that I was having. Specifically when I was trying to use their payroll service, I really didn't like it. And then also their bookkeeping service, the communication was not great. So I ended up canceling my payroll service with QuickBooks and adding a tool called Gusto, which I'll talk about later in this review. But then from talking with Gusto, they said that they really recommend Bench for the bookkeeping aspects of things. So depending on who you are and the way you think about things, it can be good or bad, right? If you have 3 or 4 different services handling different things. But I like to know that the people who are doing my bookkeeping do bookkeeping. They're not getting into payroll. They're not getting into other services. They do bookkeeping. So why don't we take a look around the tool itself? One of the things that's nice is, as you can see, the messages feature here, right? I have a stream of messages that I can refer to very easily. I like messages like this. I do not want a phone call, and I also don't want to send you an email and get a response a week later. With Bench, they try to respond to you within 24 hours. Now, another nice thing too is I can always click a status update right here. So I'm always in the know of what's going on with my bookkeeping. I can see that right now they're still finishing up April books. Makes sense. It's May 7th. And the way it works for mine is they are waiting usually on a credit card statement that comes in around May 3rd or the 4th. And then once that's ready, I'll get a notification and an email saying that that is ready. Now, if you want to take a look at some of the pulse items up here, this is like kind of your overall dashboard. If you want to just get a snapshot of your business and how things are doing, that includes balances, recent transactions, and cash flow. And then if you want to look specifically at transactions, you can see that. And now for reports, what you can see here, this is the summary. You have profit and loss and top 10 expenses. You have your income statement, so that's your revenue, operating expenses, and net profit. Your balance sheets, so all of your different accounts for assets and liabilities, and then also a search function, which is nice. But let's say if I put Impact in, so Impact Radius is an affiliate marketing network that I'm associated with, and I can see all of the payments that they have sent me this year. So very easy to go through and search for things and find things all within the Bench app. So I want to explain the document upload here. A lot of times what I'm doing here, initially I had to upload a lot of documents, but pretty much everything is automated except Capital One. That's because Capital One has changed the way that they do business because they had a data breach. So it's a very closed system. So what I have to do is once a month, I just have to upload my Capital One document here. And the way that usually happens is I get a message that I see in the form of an email just saying, hey, Eric, please upload your Capital One credit card statement. I upload it, and then they start working on my books from the previous month. Everything else that I'm using, including Gusto and my bank accounts, are already synced, so they're getting all that information right away. Now, if we take a look at this message that I received here, you can see that I got an app.bench.co categorized here. If I click this, there's not going to be anything to categorize as of right now. It's going to say you're done, but I actually did record this before so you could see exactly what that looks like. So sometimes if they're unsure about certain expenses or items, what they'll do is they'll just put them in here and you can notate and annotate on these and let them know specifically what those expenses are about. So I really like that feature as well because it's just easy, right? I don't like having to try to figure out how to communicate with my CPA that I'm still using, which I'll get into. But it's just very easy, simple service. Everything is kind of more text-based, message-based, and then having everything in a clean dashboard. Now, before I get into talking about my CPA that I still use and why I still use her, one of the things I'll mention right here is they do have a referral reward system here. Now, the nice thing about this is if you use my referral link, which is in the description below, you will actually get an additional month of free bookkeeping by using my link. That's in addition to the free trial that Bench already offers. So thank you guys for using that link. It'll actually help support my channel by helping me save on my Bench account as well. Now, why don't we take a look at Bench Tax, because I want to talk about that. So this service, they actually, it's powered by TaxFile, so it's a separate service that does this. Currently, I am not using that. I still have a local CPA that I have used, but the reason I started using this bookkeeping service is I'm not great with keeping up on things. Like tax time is super stressful for me. I'm always wondering if I've categorized things correctly. I'm not sure what I'm doing, and I hate that feeling. So for like a few $100s a month, all my bookkeeping now is being done by Bench, and if you want, you can have them actually file your taxes for you as well. So what I wanted to talk about with my personal CPA is she's awesome. Like, I love her to death, but she's not somebody who is really great with communication, right? She's a little bit older than I am. Emails are not always the greatest. Sometimes it takes me a week to get a response. So that's why I like Bench for some of the simple questions that have to do with bookkeeping. I don't have to bother her anymore. But what Bench is not, is it's not tax strategy and it's not tax filing unless you pay for this additional service. So when you're thinking of your business, there's bookkeeping, then a step up from that is tax preparation, and then you want tax strategy. I've actually seen this firsthand in a couple small businesses that I've worked with and consulted with, where they were under the premise or the guise that their CPA was a tax strategist, and that person was not. They were simply somebody who was filing their taxes for them and helping make sure that they were filed on time, but they weren't really thinking of things in terms of tax strategy. So if you are in a business, what I would suggest is use a service like Bench for bookkeeping, but make sure that you have somebody else that's actually acting as your tax strategist. And I've asked some questions just out of curiosity to see if Bench would answer them. And when you start getting into tax strategy questions, they're going to say you need to consult with your CPA or an attorney. So that's just something that you should be aware of. So I have this on the screen as well. So this is what the sample year-end financial package looks like. So this is the thing that you're going to be able to either have Bench do. So when you file your taxes, this is what they're going to be looking at. Or this is something that you can hand off to your CPA. So you can see that you'll have your annual balance sheet. And again, this is just a sample that they provided me. So these aren't real numbers for anything. But you can just get an idea of exactly what they're going to be doing for you, compiling for you every single month. So I think when it comes to if you should get this service, I mean, obviously there's the free trial, and if you use my link, you can extend it another 30 days. But you have to think about what the value of your time is and what the cost is to your business when you're not focused on ways to increase revenues and make sure that your business continues to run smoothly. So for me, I had to make that decision and bite the bullet. I didn't want to spend a couple $1,000s for a year of bookkeeping. But I'm so happy that I've done it, because that was the thing I hated more than anything else each month, was having to do bookkeeping. And frankly, I would just kind of let it slide and slip. And then tax time was really stressful for me. So I'm really looking forward to just having a lot of this stuff more automated for me, and also feeling confident because I don't have an accounting background. I'm having somebody who does have an accounting background handle my bookkeeping, and it's just one more thing I don't have to think about. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is the service Gusto. That is a service I've started using for payroll and HR. It has been tremendous for me, and it syncs in with Bench. So I'd highly suggest checking out this Gusto video, because these two services merge together pretty beautifully. All right, guys, I'm going to catch you in that next video.